Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. We made it. Congratulations. It's Friday. Best day of the week, bar none. Everybody can enjoy the weekend, but for me, it's like a finish line. And so Fridays are finish lines. And I'm crossing the finish line today, and I'm super pumped about it. So in the past few days, we've been covering about setting yourself apart, putting up with other people, tying it all in love, and being thankful. And that was a great little piece just from an excerpt of the Bible, and I really enjoyed it. I wanted to talk today about God's grace. And it's something we don't deserve. You can't earn it. And God gives it to us anyway. And God's grace is shown in our mistakes. When we screw up and mess up, God's there to say, hey, all right, let's dust this off your shoulders, and let's pick you back up and set you on your way, and let's try it again. And he consistently does that. There is no deviation for him. His grace is always sufficient. It's always enough for us. And a lot of that is found, my favorite passage about it is in 2 Corinthians 12:9. And it says, "And finally he said to me, my grace is enough to cover and sustain you. My power is made perfect in weakness. So ask me about my thorn, inquire about my weaknesses, and I will gladly go on and on. I would rather stake my claim in these and have the power of the Anointed One at home within me. I am at peace and even take pleasure in any weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and afflictions for the sake of the Anointed One, because when I am my weakest, he makes me strong." That's fantastic right there. His grace is sufficient to pick us up, dust us off, and keep us going. And when we are weak, he is strong. Now, you could take that in a little sense and say, hey, when we're our weakest, God is strong physically. You know, it's not necessarily true in the physical, because when you're your weakest, you are not your strongest at all. Just from a working out, physical fitness type perspective, when you're weak, you're not your strongest. Now, in the spiritual world, how I take that, me personally, is that when we are our weakest, when we I attribute weakness to putting ourselves in second place. When we make ourselves this big, God is able to be this big. When we are this big, God can't be this big. He can't be all that you need. He can't be everything, because your person is absorbing all that room. And God's like, well, when his head gets a little smaller, really smaller, then I can come in there and do some work. We can build some walls together. We can tear some down. They don't need to be. We can open doors. We can make things happen. And this is where his grace comes in, because when our heads are this big, when our personalities, when our lives, and we think we need to be this big in our lives, God's like, okay, well, when you're ready, I'm here for you. Just come check me out. And usually what happens is, so our heads are this big, we hit against an obstacle that we can't overcome, and all of a sudden, oh, hey, God, I need you now. And so our heads decrease in size. And if we keep this at the forefront of our mind, that, listen, we need to be our weakest so God can be strong. A lot of times he does give us strength to carry through problems. He does encourage us. He gives us grace. He gives us a sound mind. He gives us wisdom because we ask for it. And it's important to utilize those things, but to always remember, no matter how far you get ahead, no matter how far you progress, is that we need to be second. We need to allow God's grace to work in our lives, and to allow us to love and share his word with other people. And we all know this particular scripture, but I enjoy reading it from the Message, and it's 1 Corinthians 13, 3 through roughly 7. "If I give everything I own to the poor, and even go to the stake to be burned as a martyr, but I don't love, I've gotten nowhere. So no matter what I say, what I believe, what I do, I'm bankrupt without love. Love never gives up. Love cares more for others than for itself. Love doesn't want what it doesn't have. Love doesn't strut, doesn't have a swelled head, doesn't force itself on others, isn't always me first. Doesn't fly off the handle, doesn't keep score of the sins of others, doesn't revel when others grovel. Take pleasure in the flowering of truth, puts up with anything. Trust God always, always looks for the best, never looks back, but keeps going on to the end. Love never dies. I enjoy the part isn't always me first. There you go, right there. God needs to be first. He is love. Love exists because of him. I'm almost positive. And what we need to do, guys, is we need to love other people around us. It's hard. This is pretty much unconditional love right here, right? So God has unconditional love, perfect unconditional love. We don't. We have to lean into God to be able to love a lot of people, because people can be frustrating, let's just be honest. And his grace is enough to operate in our lives so we can show the love of God to other people. A lot of times we screw up, like I said, we mess up, but God's grace is sufficient to cover our issues and mistakes. But the key is, guys, that in order for us to move forward, God has to be in the driver's seat. We have to be second, and we have to put his love in front of our problems, in front of our issues. Because, love doesn't give up. It's not me first. It doesn't force itself on others. It's difficult to love someone when they're spitting in your face. It's the truth. It's just the way it is. And we get offended personally, and we get attacked. But remember, if you're being attacked, God's grace is enough for that. He will carry you through that. And in that situation, very difficult situation, we need to show those people, those issues, God's love. And we need to take a back seat, put him in the driver's seat. God, you take control, you handle this. Because I know that when I'm weak, when I reduce myself and put you first, you're the strongest. We're the strongest together. We make the best team when we're with God. When he's in the driver's seat, we're the best team, because I know that regardless of the situations I run into, regardless of any issues I face, I know he's in the driver's seat. He's taking control. I don't have to worry about it, because I've put on his love, and I'm walking in his grace and mercy. Well, guys, it's good talking to you. Happy Friday, and we'll talk soon. Be different, everybody. Love you.